The enemy shows a first scene of army forces called Anti-Skills trying to catch up a group of thieves who broke into an atmospheric quantum mechanics research facility in School District 4. Unfortunately, they couldn't even see them because they cut up the floor and seemed to be connected to the subway. And the next day, the lab announces the loss of a very developed experimental equipment that turns later to be a water cutter which can slice through anything, and is considered as a very dangerous machine. In the hospital, Accelerator, the first-ranked person in the city who has the ability to control vectors like momentum, heat, and electricity, is taking the necessary care after getting hit with a bullet in one of his fights. The doctor explains the bullet has caused a brain damage that will mainly affect his speech, numerical, and motor skills, and also, under some specific circumstances, it can cause life-threatening. This is why the patient must stay in the hospital for now. The army forces get informed that the thieves stole the gun only to fight Accelerator, and now they must be on their way to the hospital where he stays. A trial being led by Takaya Yoko arrives to the hospital and seriously intend to get him out of his room for some personal reasons. First, they start using the gun on the soldiers and cut even their arms. Yumikawa, the leader of the group, feels worried, and after knowing the thieves are only young students, she drops the gun and prefers using Bat and Ollie. After analyzing the situation, she realizes Hiromi is the one who hosts the weapons magazines, so she attacks him, but from nowhere, a poison gas comes out, forcing her to fall on her knees, and luckily the boy stops Yoko from killing her. Sooner after this, Accelerator comes out of his room, and coincidentally, Last Order sees him and rushes to hug him. However, she stumbles and falls down. The ceiling falls down at the same moment, so Accelerator shields her and opens the wounds in his head. The blood drops on Last Order's box, so Yoko takes it in haste, and they manage to escape and leave their friend Hiro behind after he falls down. Accelerator didn't stop there, and according to his experience, he knows they will go underground to avoid any surveillance satellite. Yoko intends to sell Accelerator's genetic data to big labs because this will make her gain a fortune, but suddenly, the man shows up and takes back what belongs to him. And since he's too smart, he could understand how the weapon works. It is an ultra-high pressure water cutter which uses the melting of solid nitrogen, but the clincher is using the unseen nitrogen that gets spread about, and it deprives anyone who gets too close of oxygen. And the girl with glasses works just like an aeroseparator with control the gases concentration in the air, and that is why the thieves don't get affected by the gas. He takes back what belongs to him and goes back to his room in the hospital after teaching the two girls a lesson. One day in September, in the school District 7, a 16-year-old girl ranked as an Esper of level 2 and her abilities are destined for combat fell from the third bridge into the river, and she is now on her way to the hospital. The men inside the ambulance realize she's awake, but they kill her and make it look like a suicide. 2 days later, the same group of men chases a girl called Esther Rosenthal. She's the riser of death. She rushes to the hospital holding a picture of Last Order and search for her everywhere, till she accidentally enters the room of Accelerator. Unfortunately, she doesn't see the girl she's looking for, so she asks Accelerator, but he doesn't do anything. The armed men arrive wearing the same outfit as the anti-skills and capture Rosenthal. They take it to the same vehicle where they killed the young girl 2 days ago. Somehow, Rosenthal left the picture of Last Order behind Accelerator's room. After seeing it, he surprised them by revealing they are not anti-skills. The captain then explains they are the Academy cities called also the DA, hunting what they call dogs of justice. They ask Accelerator to leave them alone, but he doesn't listen. After they point a bullet on his head, he sends it back to them, the thing which proves he's so strong. And here the group decides uncovering their secret weapon, the coffin, and they start their attack while Rosenthal manages running away. Accelerator avoids the hits and jumps to break the weapon, but something unexpected happens. A dead girl's body falls down. In shock, Accelerator stops everything and waits for the real anti-skills to come and see the body, and the men run in haste. When the guys arrive, Accelerator explains what happened and then gives them more details about the body after analyzing it. After taking a look on the body, they realize it belongs to Hitokawa Hazami, who committed suicide 2 days ago, according to the reports. Her body has been recharging the weapon, and they realize after seeing the damages caused to the building around that her power has been elevated from the 2nd level to the 4th one. Back to his room, Accelerator finds Rosenthal waiting for him to tell him that the whole world is in risk, and the next target the DAs are looking for is Last Order to use her and shift the world into a new level. Apparently, Rosenthal is the one who taught the DAs how to control dead people, so now they will go together to find a solution to this problem. The girl takes him to one of the DA's houses where they meet Hishigata Mikihiko, who shows them one of his dolls and promises to keep using dead bodies for pleasure then. The doll flees away. Back home, the boy takes the two girls to a fancy restaurant. Then he leaves them for a moment to make a call to Yoshikawa and let her know the news and ask her to investigate this new group called DA. Back to the hospital, and while the group is having fun, the doctor enters the room and reveals new information. After checking out the dead body of the girl, they found in the past day a low-level spiritual charm in her mouth. Rosenthal then gets the idea of going to the morgue since her family created a kind of necromancy whereby they can transplant a false soul into a dead body and then freely controls it. She taught Hishigata Mikihiko this method, but after seeing the dead body in the morgue, she knows he didn't understand the necromancy. And now she will try bringing back Hitokawa Hazami to life again. Before the dead girl wakes up, the door suddenly opens and two soldiers of the DA enters the room and ask Accelerator and Rosenthal to leave. They also brought a sort of solution which they intend to use in order to dispose the corpse, but Accelerator noticed it and took it away. At this moment, they get ready to start a fight, and the dead girl is no longer dead since she opened her eyes finally. In shock, the man stepped back while seeing the girl standing on her feet. Shortly after they point their gun to her head, and while she identified the type of danger to reinforce her defense, Accelerator jumps and shields her. He starts torturing one of them till he loses consciousness, then jumps to the other one, but this time he starts feeling bad and the wound in his head reopened again, so he passes out right away. The man who survived takes advantage of this moment and attempts fleeing out, but before he does, he shots the ceiling above Rosenthal and Accelerator. Luckily, Hitokawa Hazami is powerful enough to shield them. On his way, the man who escaped meets the one of Mikasa's sister, who attempts stopping him, but he's well prepared for this kind of people and manages defeating her and taking her as a hostage and runs with a vehicle that looks exactly like the army ones. The anti-skills arrive at the scene and realize this, so they start a deep, profound research to know what the DA stands for. In the hospital, Accelerator finally wakes up after a surgery he had to heal his wounds and finds Last Order sleeping in his bed. After she wakes up, she starts blaming him for acting reckless, and then he sends her to buy him black coffee. When the kid leaves, one Masaka arrives and informs Accelerator the Masaka 10 has been kidnapped by the man who escaped last time. Shortly after, Accelerator receives a call from Yoshikawa, who succeeds getting enough information about the DA. The two letters are the abbreviation of disciplinary action, and it's a society that publicly claims to be kind of mutual aid society within anti-skills, but actually they are a secret society and fairly nasty one, who is ready to resort to anything to bring what they call their justice. The DA has grown due to the help of the anti-skills members who oppose the same ideas and who provides them with lots of information, funding, and tech. And this vast community attracted more powerful movers and shakers, and one of them is a dangerous neuroscientist, and he is the same one they met in one of the DA's houses. But at the same time, one of the bigwigs who had been showing favor to this community starts thinking this group is getting out of control, and their actions are becoming nuisance, so he intends having them purged. Now the DA is in danger, and this is why anti-skill, which had been primarily shut down by this bigwig up to now, may be going into action against them. Somewhere else in the city, two girls, Hitokawa Hazami and Rosenthal, are chasing the man from the DA to bring back the hostage home. In the 3rd district, the anti-skills reveal the DA hideout, so they break in and get into a gunfight with the DA soldiers. The DA leaders get informed by the situation, so they complain about the anti-skills and they ask the neuroscientist to show up his weapon, but he reveals it's not ready yet, since the main piece of it, which is the dead girl, is now missing and he needs the hostage to base it instead. Back to the hideout, where the DA show one of their multi-pedal weapon and kills half of the anti-skill soldiers in only few minutes. Meanwhile, a group of DA tries to flee with the hostage and take it as soon as possible to the lab, while the scientist is in District 5. Yumikawa captures them and jumps to stop them, while the rest of the team fights the multi-pedal weapon uselessly. Suddenly, a new guest enters the party. Nakimoto's cleaners arrive and start killing both the anti-skill soldiers and the DAs. And then, one of them, who can control the moves of the multi-pedals, makes it turn in circle before crushing it into the wall. The building starts collapse and Yumikawa fails in catching the body bag in which the hostage is. But luckily, the two girls arrive at the same moment and save her, while the group of the 4 cleaners are watching. And since they also want the hostage, they consider saving her a favor, and now they want it back. One of them gets ready and transforms her body to a totally different form. In the hospital, Accelerator wakes up and decides to walk around until he arrives to the main door, and it turns out he wants to get the hostage back as well as he flees to the hideout. The group leader of the anti-skill and the two girls with the hostage are looking at the four cleaners and waiting to see what the next step will be until a DA soldier comes out and decides to shoot them. The weird creatures managing killing him after freezing his body. Then they attack the chief, but the Esper protects her and shows unexpected power. The fight jumps to another level while the cleaner decides to fight the Esper using her psychokinetically embed paper that has the hardness of tungsten alloy and the flexibility of fabric, the thing which makes her way powerful. And indeed, the Esper gets injured shortly after the beginning of the fight, so Rosenthal thinks of a way to save her friend using magic or anything she can do. And while the cleaner jumps to kill her opponent, Rosenthal reveals her secret shield, the armor of the dead, and here's the new girls realize she can use dirt as a medium. Now, both opponents try to show their best, but they get exhausted after a while. Then the other Nakimoto's cleaners order their friends to attack Rosenthal instead. And by this, they knew Esther would protect her by her hands, and this is how they could get them both under wheel at the same time. Luckily, Accelerator intervenes at the right time and asks his friends to take the hostage outside while he saves the situation and gets some fun. After seeing the amount of strength Accelerator has, Nakimoto's cleaners decide to do a combination because their individual attack won't get a result, in addition to the fact that no one has ever escaped from a scavenger combo attack. But then, as they try to make him surrender, they discover he's the first rank Esper in the Academy City. They get frightened, and in a couple of minutes, he ends everything. I hope you guys enjoyed this part of the recap. The next part has both science and fun. Stay tuned, and take care!